Right, let's talk about transactional writing. So transactional writing, in this case, we're looking at an article, and they share a number of features. So lots of the techniques that you use have got to be kind of consistent. I always love an anecdote in transactional writing, which we'll see later. And we're going to have a look at an article that I wrote about the current crisis, the COVID-19, the coronavirus crisis that is taking over the world at the moment. So I start off with a title. Obviously it's a feature of an article, and in this case I use a pun. Lou soaring stock prices leave owners feeling flush, and I put yes, it is hilarious. Yes, hilarious. Obviously stock prices means that people are making money, but then at the same time feeling flush. If you're feeling flush, that means that yeah, you feel like you've got a lot of money, but it's obviously a play on toilet paper. Right, fine. I start off with an exclamatory short sentence. It conveys this really kind of urgent attitude to start off with, so that's right that I've got there. And again, later on I'm talking about a bit of direct address, but bizarre isn't it in this case, because it's asking the reader a question, and giving the reader a question involves them in the article. It means that they have to think, and it talks to them, which is really kind of a good thing to do. So if you basically vary your sentence types, exclamatory, interrogatives, and then a declarative down here as well. It gives you a little bit more engagement in the reader and a little bit more variety. That is great. So, moving on. I've got a bit of a play on words. Mass hysteria is spreading faster than the virus itself. Obviously, it just means that, hysteria is going a little bit faster than the virus. The virus is spreading at one speed, but the hysteria is spreading a little bit faster, which is what I do in this part. It just makes it a nice, I don't know, clever bit of writing. The introduction, as I say at the end here, it suggests that there's more to come, okay? Lou roll isn't the only thing absent from supermarket shelves, tells you that actually there's more than just loo roll that's absent from supermarket shelves, which means that if you read the rest of the article, it's going to go into that as well. I get a bit more formal, and I think it's kind of important that you actually make sure that your writing is in proper English when it comes to transactional writing, and so you can see that here. It doesn't mean that you have to be completely serious all the time. It's not too formal, but it means that it is for our readership, and the audience have got to have like a level of sophistication in their language. You can't use slang. You can't use gonna. Would have or would apostrophe VE is not particularly great. Those kind of things, so keep it formal. Okay, so into statistics and facts here. I actually placed the date here as well, which locates it in the context that it was written, and it gives a couple of facts about the coronavirus and what is actually happening. It's good. It basically tells you that the article is informed. When it comes to your own writing for transactional writing, you do not have to know these perfectly. Obviously, if they give you a question that you know nothing about, if you make a fact up, that's absolutely fine as long as it sounds plausible. If it sounds completely implausible, then they're going to question it and think, you know what, that's just not quite right. Later on I use a bit of listing. Listing is usually used for quantity, and in this case the quantity of things that I'm missing from shelves. Fine. There is an informal tone here, so I've got formal up here, I've got informal down here with that use of a and a question there, so that interrogative, it keeps it a little bit more light-hearted after obviously the news about the deaths at the start of this paragraph. And again, an imperative is used here, so not only have we got an exclamatory, an interrogative, a declarative, an imperative, two imperatives repeated right there. It shows a good variety of different sentence types. And again, there is also a good variety of sentence structures as well. You can see that's right, it's a nice short sentence, and lots of compound and complex elsewhere as well. Fine. Moving on, I start here with an abrupt short sentence, but this is my anecdote paragraph. It's all about a visit to the supermarket. It's based on a real story. If you can actually base your anecdote on real life, it means that it's more plausible when it is being written, because you've actually got a good experience of it, and you can actually base it in reality. You can be a little bit more descriptive and add a bit more detail, and so I would certainly recommend that. So yeah, an abrupt short sentence. This week one is an unusual one for me. Again, same as up here. It is basically saying that there's more to come. Why was it unusual? It engages the reader immediately without actually giving away the details. And in the middle we've got a few different things, like good vocabulary such as ransacked, And then later on there's similarly a post-apocalyptic, it looked like a post-apocalyptic scene from some future dystopian fiction story. It's really quite good. It basically gives a bit of imagery about how dire the situation is in supermarkets. I've got minor sentences here, no pasta, no chicken, no loo roll. They're really dramatic, and it shows obviously how desperate the situation is becoming. Again, similar kind of thing with this exclamatory sentence. It shows a little bit of disbelief there as well. At the end, I just point out that it's an anecdote. They're great, absolutely fantastic for transactional writing, and I'd certainly recommend you to do that. It just allows you to be detailed and engaging. Basically, it says, this is a story, I'm going to tell you a story, and yeah, it basically is a nice engaging way, as long as you keep it engaging, I suppose. Yeah. Fine. So later on I go into a little bit of future tense, so what next, what's going to happen in the future. I suppose it's a little bit similar to when we two parted in that kind of a regard, and a bit of speculation about just how absurd the future can become when it talks about black market loo roll and basically people selling it in really kind of dodgy manners. Fine. Okay, when I go a little bit further on then, instead of this comic tone, I change again into a more serious and practical one. So the important things is what I've kind of subtitled this one here. It tells all about the virus with a bit of like research, and then it basically gives advice at the end. Wash your hands lots. Again, the imperative and a minor sentence, and it's used basically as a simple strategy to say this is what you should or should not do. It is engaging, it talks to the reader. Obviously you've got that personal pronoun of your in there as well, which is repeated throughout. So your, we've got we up here, and we probably have a lot of different ones as well. And again, the unimportant things, you've got this two-part structure. It conveys this like factual realism. This is a fact, this is what's important, this is what is not important. It's engaging, and it's simple again as well. What's unimportant, hoarding loo roll, because people are being ridiculous at the moment. Afterwards then, there's a nice kind of cyclical structure. I started off with a pun, and I want to end with a pun as well, so stock prices for loo rolls will soon go down the drain. Hilarious, of course it is. It links to the title, creates a nice sophisticated structure, definitely. So that's what I've done in my writing, and hopefully you can replicate in a piece of your own.